Attention F1 fans. Ferrari heads into the Saudi Arabian GP with everything at stake. Are we witnessing the beginning of the prancing horse's great renaissance? Or will this be another chapter in its free fall? We'll tell you everything unfiltered. Press play, subscribe, and get ready for the most complete analysis. Ferrari began 2025 with an aura of expectation rarely seen in recent years. After a 2024 season in which they were just 14 points away from snatching the Constructors' Championship from McLaren, all eyes were on Maranello. The addition of seven-time world champion Lewis Hamilton was a market-shattering move that, a priori, positioned Ferrari as a real contender for the title. With Charles Leclerc reaffirmed as the leader and a driver duo that on paper seemed unstoppable, the message was clear: we're going all out this year. But the first races of the calendar only revealed deep cracks in the project. Setup issues, an unstable car, and above all, the feeling that the SF25 was nowhere near what was promised. In every qualifying session, in every stint of the race, Ferrari seemed to fall short. McLaren, on the other hand, not only maintained its level but actually raised it. Red Bull, despite its ups and downs, remained a constant threat. And Mercedes, with timely updates, also joined the ranks of those ahead. Ferrari suddenly found itself in an unexpected battle. No longer for the title, but to remain competitive. Fred Vasseur, the team principal, was blunt in his statements. Ferrari is not where it should be. The Frenchman's sincerity reflected what was seen on the track. The car is not fast enough nor stable enough. Every race, every corner, every tenth of a second, seemed like a fight against the limitations of a car that has yet to find its identity. Despite some flashes of quality, such as Hamilton's victory in the sprint race in China or Leclerc's solid performance in qualifying, the results have been inconsistent. The deficit to McLaren hovers between 2 and 4 tenths per lap, an abyss in modern Formula One where everything is decided by millimeters and thousandths. And meanwhile, the pressure is mounting. The Italian media is unforgiving, the fans are demanding answers, and the paddock is beginning to wonder if Ferrari has already missed its window of opportunity. The Saudi Arabian GP isn't just another race on the calendar. For Ferrari, it's a test of fire. One that could determine whether 2025 will be a year of recovery or the beginning of a new cycle of frustration. Amid the uncertainty surrounding Ferrari, the Bahrain Grand Prix marked a technical turning point in its 2025 season. It wasn't just any race. It was the chosen setting to introduce the first major update package of the year. A set of changes that had been intensively worked on in Maranello since pre-season and whose implementation could not wait any longer. The situation demanded it. The SF25 was falling short on almost all key fronts. And so, what Ferrari brought to Sakir was much more than a tweak. It was a profound aerodynamic overhaul, focused primarily on the car's floor, the component that, in the current generation of single-seaters, defines virtually all performance. The modifications were visible from day one. A new design for the floor fenders, redesigned in shape and profile to better channel airflow. Significant changes to the leading edges of the bodywork, optimized fins to improve lateral stability, an expansion zone in the rear diffuser adjusted to increase downforce without penalizing drag. Even a new winglet on the rear wing pillar, seemingly minor, but crucial to the car's overall efficiency. The goal was clear: gain downforce without compromising top speed. And if there was an ideal place to test that, it was Bahrain, a track where traction, medium cornering, and straight-line efficiency are essential. The results, while not dazzling, were promising. Leclerc finished 4th, Hamilton 5th. More importantly, the car showed improved race consistency, lower degradation, and clear signs of progress. It wasn't enough to beat McLaren, but it was the first time this season that Ferrari seemed to have a clear direction. Internally, the analysis was optimistic but cautious. Telemetry figures confirmed an aerodynamic gain, although still insufficient to close the gap. Engineers believe that with proper adaptation to Jeddah, a faster and smoother circuit than Sakir, these same updates could perform even better. Because at Ferrari, they know the key isn't just making improvements. It's understanding, interpreting, and applying them precisely. The challenge now is to adapt this new surface, this aerodynamic package, to the urban layout of Saudi Arabia. A high-speed circuit, with linked corners and maximum demands on lateral stability. If they succeed, they could not only close in on McLaren, but also consolidate their position as the third strongest car in the championship. But if the improvements don't adapt well to Jeddah, the pressure will mount again. Because it's no longer enough to promise progress. Ferrari needs results, and they need them now. Lewis Hamilton's arrival at Ferrari wasn't just shocking news for the paddock. It was a strategic move with a clear objective: to transform the Scuderia's competitive DNA. The combination of Charles Leclerc and Hamilton represents, on paper, one of the most talented and experienced duos Ferrari has fielded in decades. But in practice, that union has yet to reach the level many had hoped for. Lewis Hamilton, with 7 world titles, brought with him unparalleled experience and a champion's mentality that Maranello desperately needed. But adapting to the SF25 hasn't been easy. Accustomed to the cars developed in Brackley for over a decade, his arrival in a completely different technical environment has required a considerable adaptation curve. In the first few races, he looked uncomfortable, struggling with a car that didn't respond the way he needed to extract every tenth of a second. In Bahrain, however, something changed. Hamilton achieved his best result with Ferrari to date, a solid 5th place that, beyond the numerical result, represented a psychological breakthrough. After the race, his statements made it clear that he is beginning to understand the car. Not only is he adapting, but the team is also beginning to mold the car to his style. The symbiosis between driver and machine is under construction, but the foundations are already in place. On the other hand, Charles Leclerc remains the team's natural spearhead. He knows the structure, masters Ferrari's technical philosophy, and has proven time and again that, when the car allows it, he is one of the fastest on a single lap. But even he has struggled to find the perfect balance with the SF25. Despite this, he has been the team's most consistent driver in these first rounds of the calendar. Leclerc currently leads Hamilton in the Drivers' Championship. He has more points, more qualifying pace, and is better adapted to the car's unstable behavior. But he also faces a new challenge: maintaining his internal leadership against a figure of Hamilton's caliber. The dynamic between the two has been cordial, even collaborative, but as the season progresses and points become more valuable, that harmony will be tested. At Maranello, they are trying to find a balance. Vasseur has made it clear that the car must adapt to both Leclerc and Hamilton, but he also insists that both drivers must work on adapting to the car. Building an effective duo depends not only on talent, but also on the ability to understand each other, push each other, and evolve together. Ferrari knows it has 2 of the best in the world. What it doesn't yet know is whether it can get the most out of both at the same time. The history of this team has been marked by internal rivalries that have, at times, cost championships. In 2025, the key will be synergy. If they can create a united front, Ferrari will have an unshakable foundation. If not, internal tension could be as dangerous as any technical error. The Jeddah street circuit in Saudi Arabia is one of the most challenging and unique circuits on the calendar. At over 6 kilometers long, with a series of high-speed corners and extensive DRS zones, it represents a setting where pinpoint precision meets the need for pure power. And for Ferrari, this circuit can be both an opportunity and a trap. From a technical perspective, there are reasons to believe the SF25 could adapt well. The car has shown good top speed figures, a key attribute on a circuit that features long straights and sustained acceleration zones. The Ferrari engine has been competitive in this regard, and that can make a difference on sections where overtaking is possible. Furthermore, the updates introduced in Bahrain directly address one of the fundamental requirements for performance in Jeddah: high-speed aerodynamic stability. If the new floor and the adjustments to the rear diffuser manage to keep the car glued to the asphalt without excessively penalizing drag, Ferrari could have an ideal setup for this type of track. There are precedents that fuel optimism. In 2024, Leclerc achieved second place in the qualifying at this circuit, surpassed only by Verstappen, and that with a car less tuned than the current one in terms of balance. Under ideal conditions, Ferrari has every reason to dream of a front-row finish or even a podium fight if the race plays out strategically. However, the dangers are also numerous and real. The main threat is the car's height issue, which already cost them a disqualification in China. Jeddah, despite its smooth surface, has undulations, compression zones, and subtle bumps that can test the SF25's vertical control. If Ferrari can't maintain a constant height without compromising performance, they will once again be on the edge. Another significant risk is the performance gap that still separates them from McLaren. Although it has narrowed slightly, the deficit of between 2 and 4 tenths per lap remains. On a circuit where each sector is driven at the limit, that margin can mean dropping from second to sixth place with hardly any mistakes. Added to this is Hamilton's still incomplete adaptation to the car and the fact that Leclerc, although fast, is still struggling to find the optimal balance. If neither of them achieves an ideal setup from free practice, they risk losing key positions on the grid, something difficult to recover on such a technical street circuit. And then there's the competition. McLaren arrives with winning momentum, Red Bull is always dangerous with its ability to optimize in the race, and Mercedes, although more inconsistent, has shown peaks of speed that can complicate any strategy. In short, Jeddah is a circuit of extremes. Ferrari may find a turning point in its season here, but it may also stumble again upon its own limitations. The key will be in the execution. If every technical decision is made with precision, if the drivers can adapt instantly, and if the improvements truly work under pressure, a podium finish is achievable. If not, the narrative will change radically, and doubt will once again settle in the red garage. The Saudi Arabian Grand Prix is not just another race on Ferrari's calendar. It is a crucial intersection in its season. At this point, it's no longer about hypotheses or technical promises to be kept. It's about answers. And this weekend in Jeddah could clearly mark the direction the team will take for the rest of the championship. Ferrari arrives under pressure, with urgency, with a technical package that has shown potential but has yet to fully establish itself, with two drivers who, despite their credentials, have yet to translate their talent into consistent results, and with an unforgiving external environment. Because when it comes to Ferrari, the margin for error is always minimal and expectations are at their highest. These are the kinds of races where the great teams reveal their true essence. If Ferrari manages to make the updates perform as expected, if the car finds stability on one of the fastest and most complex circuits of the year, if Hamilton manages to exploit his experience and Leclerc capitalizes on his natural speed, then a real door to recovery will open. But if the car shows instability again, if the altitude problems persist, if the strategic decisions fail again, then what is now a difficult season could turn into a lost one. And that, for a team with Ferrari's resources, history, and media clout, is not a viable option. Not in a year where much more was expected. Not with a regulatory revolution in 2026 just around the corner, where any present error could jeopardize the future. The implicit decision is on the table. Continue fighting for every point, every tenth, and every evolution in the hope of winning again, or begin diverting resources to developing the new era car, accepting that 2025 won't be the year. Whichever path they choose, this weekend could define everything. There's no room for half measures. Jeddah is a track where every lap demands perfection, where mistakes are costly, and where only truly prepared teams can make the difference. Ferrari has to prove it's among them. It's the moment of truth. Either they take a step forward, or they fall back into the shadow of disappointment.